and welcome to Tracy Momey Reads. I'm Tracy Momey and I read and review books. I neglected in my first video to do a proper introduction, so I'm going to remedy that now. Again, my name is Tracy Momey. I am an author of count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fiction books that are in the marketplace right now, and I will be doing a video at some point where I talk about my own books, so stay tuned for that. I'm also a freelance graphic designer, and I have a card project, a playing card and affirmation card line through Decked Cards, and I'm also the founder of a community of women in their 50s called The Face of 50. You can visit my website, tracymomey.com, for more information about all the stuff that I do. I am a member of Team Do Too Much. Hashtag Team Do Too Much. But you're here today, though, because you want to get my latest review. And the book that I'm reviewing today is called How to Fail at Flirting. I don't know that I've ever been good at flirting. I'm trying to remember the last time I flirted. I mean, I've been married for 18 years. I guess we flirt sometimes, still, maybe. Or maybe I'm failing at it and don't know it. But anyway, let me tell you, I was so excited. I have not been to the library, like a physical library, since the pandemic started, right? So that's like last March of 2020. And I either have been just, going through books that are on my list that I have not read, or I've gotten books as gifts, or I've been going to thrift books, Amazon, and what have you. But when I saw this book, I was like, I want to check and see if the library has it. Because, I used to do that a lot. I would put books on hold. And so I put it on hold, but I didn't realize, I'm thinking I'm going to mask up, run in there and get it off the shelf and do my thing. Well, they're not open on the inside. The library, at least my library, has curbside pickup. How cool is that? I mean, there's no excuse for reading or not reading when the librarians are outside with your books and they'll bring them to your car. And that's what, I got this one from the nice people over at the Harris County Public Library. And again, I think I talked about in my last video, I'm going to get my notes here. In my last video, how I had joined this group and they were talking about different books. This was another book. But I saw this one on Instagram as well, because I'm on Instagram at Tracy Momey, and that's where my big catalog of books that I've reviewed over the past few years, hashtag Tracy Momey Reads, it also resides there. But this one, How to Fail at Flirting by Denise Williams, when I saw that author's name, I immediately thought about Denise Williams, who's a R&B singer, like from the 80s. She had this song called Silly, and I don't know. That's silly, I thought about that. But anyway, so this book was much different than the suspense book that I reviewed before. This one, it's categorized here as a contemporary romance book. So it's about a relationship between a man and a woman, Naya Turner, and she meets this guy named Jake. Well, so Naya, she has a PhD and she's trying to get tenure at the college where she works. I think her specialty was math, and she's working on trying to infuse that with technology for kids to learn math that way. And so she had a bad breakup. We learn more what led to all of that as the book goes on. But basically, she's just been a workaholic. She hasn't really been living her life. And after visiting her friend Felicia and her husband one night, she decides, hey, well, she doesn't decide so much as they decide for her. Hey, you need to get out and do something. You're becoming boring. You're too young for this. You need to get out and meet people. So they start this list of things that she needs to do, right? And one night she's supposed to meet them at a bar. Things happen where, long story short, she ends up at the bar alone because both of them cancel on her. And she meets this guy named Jake at the bar. And they kind of strike up a conversation, and after a few drinks and flirting, the witty banter, they both were so ridiculous with the puns that they used. And they ended up going out for ice cream. I will tell you that initially I wasn't like 100% sold. Lipstick on my finger. I wasn't 100% sold on their chemistry. It seemed contrived a little bit. But as I got into the story, I liked them together, and their chemistry became more, apparent or whatever. So I'm just looking at some of my notes here. I'm not a big fan of stories or movies, books, whatever. And this is a total personal thing, because for me, I just don't think I'm someone who somebody could blackmail. So when I see that kind of stuff happen, like people allow other people to use them as puppets or hold things over their head if they don't do ridiculous things, I'm like, no, I'm gonna go tell on myself. So you're not gonna have that power over me. You're gonna, tell everybody my job that I did this, or that. Okay, I'm gonna go in. Hey, you guys, back, 10 years ago when I was young and stupid, I did X, Y, Z. Somebody's trying to blackmail me with it. Like, you wouldn't be able to blackmail me, because I'm gonna tell on myself, because it's never anything that detrimental that someone should just sacrifice who they are and what they believe in, the things that people let other people hold over their head, in my opinion. Well, it was a similar thing like that happening in the book with Naya's ex. His name is Davis, and he was holding something over her head that I felt like she should have came clean about. And apparently that had been a really abusive relationship, which made her kind of leery about moving forward with Jake. But the thing, all that aside, the Jake's status is what really threw me off. Like, when I read that, I was like, say what now? He have a what? I mean, spoiler, but I just thought that, and even though they were separated, I still was kind of like, no, how is their relationship really going to be able to progress with that? I felt like that thing in his life should have been like kind of handled. But I guess that's like true to real life relationships. Sometimes, things are messy. So overall, I thought it was a funny, well-written story, but I just felt like Davis, her ex, was just a convenient villain. He just wasn't even, like, we never even learned his motivation other than obviously being insecure or what have you. But the one thing I will say is that I'm so glad that the author allowed Naya to come to her own rescue. Like, Jake wasn't like the person that stepped in to save her. Because I don't necessarily like that either with the damsels in distress. But, like I said, overall, it was another book that I read like in a couple of, well, this one, it took me a little bit longer to read because I was doing other things, but I could totally see somebody finishing this, within a couple of days or what have you. And again, that's How to Fail at Flirting. I'm trying to see if I have any other notes on here about this. Yeah, it was a good book with regards to the relationship and the pacing and everything. I just didn't buy that whole thing with Davis, especially with her being as smart and as capable as she was. It seemed like she would have found a way to untangle herself from that whole mess. First of all, even getting involved with him to begin with, that seemed like such a stretch. But if you're looking for, quick read, something heartwarming, a very steamy read, I would definitely recommend this. Just be prepared. That whole bit with her ex, that's probably going to be a disappointment. So let me see. If I were a casting director and I had to cast this particular story, I don't know, I had a couple of people in mind, because the way that she described Naya, like, I think she was biracial with Hispanic and Black, but it was weird because she said that she was kind of ambiguous. When people saw her, like, they didn't know what to make of her. And the only actresses I could think of, I mean, to me it's obvious that, like somebody like a Zoe Saldana, even though she's Afro, what is it, Afro-Latina, for the most part, when you see her, she presents as a black woman. So the other person that I thought about was Gina Rodriguez. But again, it's obvious that she has different mixed roots as well, but she totally presents as a Latina. So either one of them, I think I'll probably lean more towards Gina Rodriguez just because of the age and just some of the characters I've seen her play. I think that she would do a good job as Naya in a role, if she had the role of How to Feel at Flirting. The only person I could think of in the role of Jake was Channing Tatum. Only because of it was obviously that he was a white guy, but the way that she described him, because even though I feel like he's attractive, he seems like he's also like an everyday guy. He's not like just somebody that seems so unapproachable or so unattainable for somebody. Yeah, so those are the main two characters in that book. So those would be the two leads that I would cast. Again, How to Feel at Flirting, now available for purchase, or you can go to your local library and rent it. So I would definitely suggest that you check it out. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and tell a friend. Bye.